Hey there, welcome back. Once again, it's time for the Golden Age of DC Comics 365 days, where I go through this well-loved hardcover coffee table book given to me by one of my best friends about 2 decades ago. It has been surfing my coffee table ever since, and it's been a great source of comic book conversation that I wish to share with you and recreate the style of conversation that we used to have in the comic book shops. I like to start the show off with the book itself. This is a 2004 Abrams publication. There's a link in the description if you want your own copy. Last time I checked, it was about $12 to $24, which is the usual price for it. It's a great book. It's been curated and written by Les Daniels, Chip Kidd, and Geoff Spear, and it makes a great gift. I know, because I got one. I take this book for its intended purpose. I crack the book open to today's date. We look at some comic book art. We talk about it. We read the blurb. And then, we talk about comic books. And we're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. So let's get to it. But before that, I want to say thank you for tuning in. How are you doing today? I want to really put forth the value of escapism in your life. It's a necessary ingredient to flex the muscle of your imagination. Lately, in our modern age, our postmodern age rather, we are beset with activism, which is important because the world needs it. Yet activism is everywhere in our fictions, which is antithetically opposed to escapism. We need to take a break from our world's problems just for a few moments every day, and they'll be here when we get back, and we can have both. We can work on the world's problems, and you know what? Take a break from them every once in a while. So this escapism is in our sports, it's in our music, it's in our art, in our cinema, and in our comic books. So don't let anyone sell you on the BS notion that activism has to be everywhere. No, it doesn't. And we need a break from the world, and that's what fiction's for. And so let's do it. Let's crack the book open. It is June the 11th. And this is art by Sheldon Moldoff from Flash Comics number 21, September of 1941. Carter Hall, always Carter Hall! Someday I'll put him out of the way. Meanwhile, Carter and Shiera return to the Hall mansion. Look at those looks on their faces, too. They're kind of like, maybe they're fighting. I'll go fix some drinks. Fine, I'll visit your hothouse. I must see it. Remember, they might not be dating at this point, and they are destined to be together. We're going to get into this. Are we talking about Hawkman? We're going to talk about Hawk Girl / Hawk Woman for a minute. And when I was a kid growing up in the Bronze Age, Hawkman and Hawkwoman were two of my favorites. And because they were a rare example of the married superhero couple. And I only saw this, over in Marvel with Mr. Fantastic and Sue Storm, a married couple doing their thing, costume adventuring. So let's talk a bit about Hawk Girl for a second. Her name is Shiera Sanders, or Shiera Sanders Hall, as we'll get to. Shiera is a fictional superheroine, the first Hawk Girl appearing in American comic books published by DC Comics. She was created by Gardner Fox and Dennis Neville, first appeared in Flash Comics number 1. I'm reading from the wiki! Flash Comics number 1 of January 1940 as a romantic interest of Hawkman, Carter Hall. Then later as one of DC's earliest superheroines. She has appeared in many of the comics' flagship team-up titles, including the Justice Society of America. Archaeologist Carter Hall has a dream that he is an ancient Egyptian prince, Khufu, who has a lover named Shiera in the original story, or Princess Chiera in the modern retellings. The next day, Carter meets a woman named Shiera who looks exactly like the woman in his dreams. Carter dons the identity of Hawkman, and Shiera becomes Carter's girlfriend. She-Ra first appears as Hawkgirl in All-Star Comics number 5 in July of 1941. During Hawkman's solo segments of the JSA stories, She-Ra dons a spare set of the nth metal wings developed by Hawkman and masquerades as Hawkman in order to trick some criminals. She-Ra continues to wear the costume and wings in later stories, eventually adopting the identity of Hawkgirl. Now, later on in the Silver Age, a lot of the Golden Age characters' origins were changed, and so Carter Hall was a reincarnation of Prince Khufu in the Golden Age, and so by the Silver Age, we're given a new story that they're from a planet called Thanagar, and which is they're the Hawk. They have a whole culture of Hawk people, and She-Ra is his wife, and they come to Earth, and later on, during all the different incarnations of the publication history, rather, of Hawkman, it gets a little cumbersome, and it gets crowded and then streamlined to where there's Hawkman is continually being reincarnated, and so is his wife She-Ra. So when I grew up with the Super Friends and the early Bronze Age comic books, I knew Hawkman and Hawkwoman as the Thanagarian couple, and who shared a room. I noticed that as a kid, like, oh, look at them. There's one bed in there, in that room, in that panel, something like that, you know. And it's an interesting side note too, because after the Silver and Bronze Age, the Golden Age heroes were relegated to something called Earth 2. This created a multiverse, different Earths where different events happen in different times. And what goes best with some coffee table talk and some coffee table books? Good coffee. Guatemalan Hueve Tanago. And this stuff's really good. And so She-Ra and Carter Hall of the Golden Age get married, and they have a son named Hector. This is and this gets fleshed out in the Bronze Age title All-Star Squadron, and later on one of my childhood favorites, Infinity Incorporated, which was set on this Earth 2 that had to do with the second generation of that Earth's heroes, the kids and sidekicks who have grown up and have now inherited, you know, the big table of the Justice Society of America. So Hector Hall was known as the Silver Scarab, and he met a young lady named Lyta Trevor Hall, or Lita. I don't know how you pronounce it, Hippolyta, who was named after her grandmother. This was the daughter of the Golden Age Wonder Woman and her husband, Steve Trevor, the army guy. And yet they had Hippolyta, named after Wonder Woman's, not Diana's mother. And so Lyta Hall and Hector Hall, they get married, and they have a son themselves. His name is Daniel, and Daniel eventually becomes Neil Gaiman's second Sandman. There's a lot to the canon, continuity, and backstory, and this is what made comic books a lot of fun. All this history to dive through, all these things to figure out, all these little character moments that fall together. And I love talking about comic books. Hopefully I'm turning you on to some comic books. Maybe you too can check out Infinity Incorporated by Jerry Conway and company. That was from the early 80s. And you can also check out Neil Gaiman's Sandman. That is one of the best comic books ever put out. And you'll find a lot of these Earth 2 concepts in early Sandman. And we've been talking about the DC Golden Age of comic books, and we're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. So tune in tomorrow, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern, and you'll find out who we're talking about when we turn the page tomorrow. Please like and subscribe. Turn on the notifications. I would love to earn your subscription. I talk about cooking, spirituality, pop culture, comic books, general hijinks. Make daily content here, and we try to keep it fun and light and upbeat. And thank you so very much for being a part of this. Leave a comment. We will see you again tomorrow, 3 p.m. Good luck, namaste, God bless, and see you in the funny pages. Thank you so very much. Cheers. Bye-bye.